What if I told you that 3 seemingly impossible riddles were actually a training program? A game designed not just to test you, but to completely upgrade how your consciousness operates reality itself. Well, today we're diving into a text that lays out exactly that. Let's get into it.
Okay, here's the first challenge. Picture this. You've got a pot, the best soil, everything you need. And you have a twig that you know for a fact is 100% dead. No life in it whatsoever. Your mission is to make it grow. So, how on earth do you do that?
All right, let's ramp up the intensity for game number 2. Imagine a total system collapse. The power grid is gone, the sun is blotted out, there's no internet, no phones. The world is just dark, cold. All the external systems you rely on have vanished. What's your move? How do you survive?
And for the final challenge, you're standing alone in the middle of a huge open field. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and closing in on you from all sides is a pack of 1,000 hungry wolves. Your goal isn't to fight, it's to escape. What's the plan?
So you might be thinking, these are just clever brain teasers, right? But here's the twist. According to the source material, they're not about finding some tricky physical solution. Each one is a level in a game, a training program designed to fundamentally shift how you see and interact with the world around you. So let's dive into level 1. This first stage is all about power, specifically the power of definition. It forces you to ask a really basic question. Who decides what things mean anyway?
We're back to our dead twig. The text says, "The secret of life is in it." Now, this isn't a biology puzzle. It's a philosophy puzzle. The point isn't to literally bring the twig back to life, but to understand something much, much deeper about the nature of life and reality itself.
And this brings us to the core mechanic of level 1, defining power. You see, most of us walk around as rule followers. We accept the definitions we're given. This twig is dead. That's a rule. But this level is about becoming a meaning giver. You're the one who gets to decide what things mean.
And this slide right here breaks it down perfectly. The conventional mind says, it's a dead twig. End of story. You have to follow the rules of biology. But the upgraded mind asks, okay, what new meaning can I give this thing? It's a huge shift from just accepting reality as is to actively shaping it with your own focus.
You know, a great way to understand this comes from the video game RuneScape. There was this thing called the cabbage cult. Players took a totally useless, worthless item in the game, a cabbage, and just decided it was sacred. They created ceremonies for it, built a whole community around it. They couldn't change the game's code, but they completely changed the cabbage's meaning. And that's the secret to the twig. It sprouts the second you define it as a symbol of life, imbuing it with value and meaning that exists outside of its physical state.
Okay, so once you get the hang of defining your external world, it's time for level 2. This is where you take that power and turn it inward. The goal? To build a reality that doesn't need the outside world at all.
So, we're back in that nightmare scenario. Total darkness, total collapse. Everything you relied on is gone. This isn't just a test of your survival skills, it's a test of your internal foundation. What have you got when there's nothing left on the outside?
The answer to this impossible problem is to activate your inner universe. The source describes this as a complete, self-sustaining world that you build from your own consciousness. It's a place that makes its own light, its own stability, its own connection, completely independent of what's happening outside.
So how do you even begin to do that? Well, the first step is surrender. Stop fighting the chaos. You have to accept that the outside world is gone. The moment you do that, you can redirect all that energy you were using to fight it and turn it inward. Then you expand what the text calls your heart domain, an inner space where your own consciousness becomes the sun, the water, the whole support system. It's a lot like a concept you see in the game Honkai Star Rail with their inner worlds. When the universe is in crisis, the character's real source of strength isn't just what they can do on the outside, it's this vast, near-infinite world they carry inside of them. That's the whole point of level 2.
And that brings us to the final level, level 3. This is where things get really wild. You're not just playing the game anymore, you're learning how to become the game designer.
So here we are, on the plane, surrounded by wolves. Now remember the prompt very carefully. It doesn't say fight the wolves or survive the wolves, it says escape. That one word, it's everything. This is the difference between being a piece on the board and being the player moving the pieces. The player's mindset sees a binary choice, fight or run. The wolves are a threat. It's their game, and you're trapped in it.
But the game designer's mindset asks, how can I change the rules of this encounter? They see the wolves' hunger as just a piece of code, an attack protocol that can be modified. It's not about playing their game, it's about making them play yours.
So how do you actually pull this off? Well, you can modify their protocol. Project an energy of such deep calm that their programming shifts from hunger to curiosity. Or you can change how you're rendered in their reality. If you stop identifying as prey, their hunter program has nothing to lock onto. You're essentially invisible. But the ultimate move is to just bypass the game. You don't escape from the wolves. You escape from the entire game of being hunted.
Okay, so we've looked at all 3 levels: defining reality, building an inner world, and rewriting the rules. But what's the one secret that connects them all? What's the master key that unlocks the whole thing?
To get it, you need to understand 2 key ideas: Wu and Yo. Think of Wu as the ultimate blank canvas. It's pure potential, infinite possibility, everything that could be. And Yo is the finished painting. It's what has actually shown up, the specific reality we can see and touch.
So, everything starts as Wu, as pure potential. It only becomes Yo, our actual reality, when something acts as a bridge between the two. And here's the ultimate secret of this entire system. You are that bridge. You are the switch.
And this table just lays it all out. With the dead twig, the potential, Wu, is for it to have meaning. Your action, flipping the switch, is to define it as alive. The result, Yo, is a sacred object. In the dark world, the potential is your vast inner space. You generate a world inside, and the result is a reality that has its own light. With the wolves, the potential is for new rules. You modify the relationship, and the result is a peaceful encounter.
So think about what this really means. It completely flips our normal way of thinking on its head. The takeaway here is that you're not just a person living in a world that already exists. You are the one actively generating the world you experience moment by moment.
And really, that's the question this whole thing leaves us with, isn't it? If this is true, if you really are the switch between infinite possibility and manifest reality, then the power is completely in your hands. So what reality are you going to choose to create next?